So, after another trip and horror movie marathon highlighted by the Evil Dead remake, which I absolutely love, I stumbled upon this crazy movie from Full Moon Entertainment, known for an arsenal of ridiculous movies. And it sounds ridiculous right off the rip. The fucking little screen cap of the movie looked ridiculous, but I decided to say fuck it and give it a whirl. And what a calculated, great move on my part. That movie is Trophy Heads, and I'm going to break it down for you in this review. So right away, we jump straight into the theme of the movie in a way that let us know that this is a silly ass premise we're working with, but it is much more brutal and disturbing than it may appear. So we flash back to a few months. I believe it was like 2 months before shit went down. This is after the opening scene. The scene that let us know that this shit is both silly and brutal. We flash back to a scene, or better yet, a narrative that lets us know where all the madness begins. And this is where we really get to meet our main character, Max. He's a weird little dude, lives in his mom's basement. The typical internet nerd troll you might envision yourself arguing with on the internet over some dumb shit. Anyway, he's frustrated about how his favorite movies and the very essence of these movies are being phased out, fading into obscurity. Not only the movies, but the actresses in them. Meanwhile, his mom, he lives in his mom's basement. She comes down to check on him. He tries to explain to her why he's feeling in his feelings or whatever, why he's so fucking butthurt and down. She doesn't quite understand what his fucking issue is, even though he's fucking whining and crying to her. She wants to hear him out. In the meantime, she understands by her facial expression. Maria Olsen, she has a very fucking interesting face. I'll just say that, but she's a great actress. While he's fucking breaking this down to her, crying, pouring on his heart, she gives a look that indicates that she knows that this nigga is a little fucking off and shit. At the same time, she gives him an inspiring speech about how greatness begins in little places like this. And she believes that Max, this little crazy ass fucking basement dwelling nerd, has greatness within him. And from there, we are off and running with our movie. So Max puts his plan into full effect, and it all starts with kidnapping these scream queens from his favorite classic B horror films. And believe it or not, his mom is right there with him. She's his main accomplice, his biggest supporter. So, once Max kidnaps these scream queens, these actresses who are past their prime, pretty much doing regular jobs out in the world, not necessarily acting, at least not with the regularity that they once did when they were younger, Max keeps them in this little dungeon he sets up in his basement. He keeps them waiting in suspense until the time comes to capture his masterpiece. Performance art is what he calls it. Now, Max is such a twisted little fanboy, he wants to recreate his favorite scenes featuring these actresses that starred in them. Now, his kidnapped victims. Unfortunately for them, these are mostly their death scenes in those movies. So, Max wants to recapture these scenes where these fucking actresses died in the movie in his own twisted, gruesome little vision and shit. So, from there, after he captures these scenes, Max he beheads the actresses and preserves their memory, so to speak, by turning them into literal trophy heads. Like the fucking deer you might see on fucking Uncle Jed's wall. Now, this is where Max's personality really shines. We see his process that he goes through to embalm and fucking transform these decapitated heads into trophy items. He has an in depth conversation with each victim. Obviously, they're dead as fuck, so he's talking to a fucking head. Meanwhile, he's shaping their face for their final pose to capture whatever he wants them to look like when they're hanging up on his wall. Now, in his mind, obviously, each of the victims, they're like trying to talk sense into him, like asking him what he's doing and why is he doing this, what gives him the right, yada yada yada. And it's like just when it seems like they may be starting to get to him, perhaps convince him that what he's doing is wrong, he like adjusts the mold on their mouth or something like that, or just tells them to hold on while he makes a fucking adjustment to their face and shit, and like gets them to stop talking and kind of like shutting them out or whatever. It's like really shows what a crazy motherfucker Max is. But I also thought it was brilliantly hilarious because he just pulled it off like pretty well. So that said, I feel this movie is very well done from production and atmosphere to pace and the performance of every actor and actress in it. I thought every Scream Queen roles in which we saw actresses like Michelle Bauer, Denise Duff, and Brink Stevens played themselves, they knocked it out of the park. Even the Goody Two Shoes, recently born again actress who annoyed everyone in the dungeon, she was fantastic. They were all very believable and really helped sell Max as a sadistic, terrifying psychopath. And I forgot one actress out of this mix, Jacqueline Lavelle. She's like in her 40s now, gotta be pushing 50, but damn, she is still fine as fuck, I must say. And she was probably my favorite of the kidnapped victims and Scream Queens in this movie. So the actresses were great in their roles as the captured B movie Scream Queens, which is particularly hard for me to say apparently. But the star of this movie is no doubt Adam Noble Roberts, who was brilliant in his role as Max. On the surface, he's a goofball, mama's boy, and a creep at best. But Roberts managed to give an edge to this character as a certifiable lunatic without a single redeemable quality. This was made even more effective by Maria Olsen as his mom, who was a hands-on accomplice, and no doubt just as batshit crazy as Max in the end. What really stood out to me about this movie was the relevance. Now, it came out in 2014, I believe, but it draws some parallels to more recent times, specifically where you got all these people crying about Mr. Potato Head and how their so-called childhood is being ruined. Well, Max is taking that fucking angle to the max, so to speak. Pun not intended, but fuck it, I'll take it. He's so intent on capturing these special memories that he's willing to kill, cut out, and frame the likenesses of the people who made these special moments and put them on his fucking wall as decapitated heads. According to Max, by being his victims, these so-called Scream Queens have been immortalized and they will never be forgotten. And it's all because of him. So this nigga is really out of his fucking shit, but he believes he's doing something very historic, performance art, something that will have him go down in history as one of the great people in life. He breaks it down better than I can. Okay, so I also took note of Max's relationship with his mom. Now, clearly, she played a very integral role on how he turned out and why he evolved to be such a fucked up, lunatic, psycho, creepy motherfucker living in the basement. At the same time, it got me to thinking about my mama. Now, my mama, she's the kindest, sweetest person, nicest motherfucker you will ever meet. Like, you would even, if you knew me and you knew my mom, you would be like, you had this evil little motherfucker. That said, if not getting directly involved, my mama would probably help me fucking hide and dissolve the fucking evidence. It's crazy to say, but my mama is very down for me, and she will pretty much do anything to protect me. And I think a lot of excuse me, I think a lot of mothers feel the same way. I'm not saying they would go to this degree, chopping bitches' heads off and all that, but I think a lot of mothers would show that they are in fact ride or die when it comes to protecting their son, no matter how wrong or fucked up they may be, which is kind of adorable and terrifying at the same time. So, Trophy Heads, a full moon entertainment productions. Full Moon, as you may know or you may not know, is a long-standing B horror movie studio run by Charles Band, I believe his name is. They're responsible for classic horror flicks like The Puppet Master. That says it all right there. This one was a lot better than the typical Full Moon feature. In my humble opinion, it's a fucking masterpiece. That's 5 fucking heads out of 5 decapitated heads. It's a perfect balance of horror and comedy, and it's beautiful from the opening credits all the way to the closing credits where they paid a fitting tribute to everyone involved by encapsulating their likenesses and trophy heads, just like Max did with his victims. So, like, everybody from the director to the fucking casting manager or whatever, whatever. When the credits roll, they show all these people involved as fucking decapitated trophy heads. I thought that was pretty cool. And it's a little bit disappointing to see that this movie is not very well known. Like, I tried to research it, to fucking get my shit together for this fucking review, and I just didn't find a lot of information on it, which is pretty weird to me considering that it's been out for, what, 7 years now? But, hey, some masterpieces are unknown until we fucking dig them up and put them out here and showcase them to the masses. So, maybe this review one day in a fucking few years will help do that. But in the meantime, if you watch this review, you should get your ass out there and watch Trophy Heads. You can check it out on Tubi for free, or better yet, go buy the Blu-ray or DVD and support this fucking masterpiece. Peace.